Westbrook Health Services has been supporting the surrounding community since 1949 and is known as an agency that is community-focused, people-driven. As one of West Virginia's 13 comprehensive behavioral health centers, Westbrook provides services to 8 counties throughout the Mountaineer State and became one of the first comprehensive community behavioral health clinics in West Virginia in 2020. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the generous help of the Sisters Health Foundation. This year marks 25 years since the foundation awarded its first grant, and we couldn't be more grateful for their support. Welcome to Studio 2121.
Hello, and welcome back to Studio 2121 to a little thing we like to call Spill the Tea with Liz and me.
I'm Liz.
And I'm me.
Yeah.
And we are so excited today to have a very special guest whose name is Mark Powers, and he asked to come speak with us.
Do we acknowledge, or do we...
I was going to.
Maybe it'll be a little bit like the Sixth Sense.
He brought a special friend with
him. The Sixth Sense, only the audience can see him.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
A special guest named Mark Powers who asked to speak with us because he's got something very important to say.
Because most people run from us when we say, will you be our guest?
That's
yeah.
true.
And so right there, that makes him special.
Yes, and our friend Tim Leach, who is a dedicated employee, who's worked with us for
3 years.
Oh my gosh.
Time.
And a jack of all trades.
A jack of all trades. But he may figure into the story.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But tell us about yourself, Mark, and tell us why you felt like you had something important to say
Why
today.
you wanted to hijack the show. Go ahead.
You're right. First of all, I just want to thank you all for inviting me here
Our
today.
pleasure.
Oh, we are so excited.
And Kelly Ross, who made this happen too.
She did.
My case manager. She's been my only case manager in the time that I've been here. And that was back since December 14th when I first started coming here.
What year?
December 2014.
2014, okay.
That was the first time I ever came here.
She has very good things to say about you, by the way.
And I as well, for her.
If I could just interrupt.
Sure.
We interrupt a lot. We're sorry about that.
That's fine.
So the audience needs to know that what Mark has to say is very impressive, but how our local community would know him is because he is kind of famous.
He's famous.
He's the guy that flips a sign for Little Caesars for how long now?
It has been July, it'll be 14 and a half years.
14 and a half years.
Oh my goodness.
And I have some commentary on it. We'll talk about it later, but his impact, people know him. People know him. And they know things about you whether you know it or not. And I find it funny because people said, yeah, I know that. Well, I know of that guy. Yeah. Yeah.
So did you know you were famous?
I've been told that a number of times.
Have you?
And one of the main reasons too, I wasn't going to start with that, but we can go there from Westbrook. Just one article, I just wanted to show it up here. This was Westbrook made this happen for the News and Sentinel, and this was about my 5-year recovery time.
Look at that.
5 years. And Parker McMahon discusses his journey to sobriety. So that was 5 years, and next week it'll be 9.5 years. So 6 months from now will be 10 years. So this was about halfway.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Someone did ask me how you flip it.
I just basically flip, just flip it and turn it.
So it's on a finger.
It's on a finger. Okay. And then I prefer the guitar. Here I'm using the guitar, so I definitely do enjoy the guitar better.
Okay.
So, but we do the song a good bit too, and I do turn that as well too. But it's been a long time, 14 and a half years.
Yeah.
It's really, and my first 5 years, I was not doing this job sober, so I was coming to work hungover.
Okay.
And my boss knows that and everything, and then knows my road to sobriety. So it's been like the last almost 9.5 years that I have been sober. I was able to. This is like the one job that I was able to pull off while still drinking. More nights than not. Nights than not. But and that's my story. Is alcoholism. I've never gotten into drugs or anything like that. But beer and alcohol have been
very common.
Crippling. Yeah.
And a lot of people they'll function with it, as you did. You functioned with it, yes.
Yes, I was able to function finally. And then it got to the point where functioning became very difficult. And that's where I'm glad, that's where I wanted to go with Westbrook.
You go ahead.
Is what helped there. And the first thing that got me here was Tim Bear, who is the Path Engagement Specialist, is his title, and he works with homeless.
Yes.
So he provided me with 3 referrals. And the first referral was to Westbrook Housing. And that Westbrook Housing was on Palmer Drive. So, and I actually met you there for the very first time. Tim came to help us fix a couple of things there, including some of the plumbing. He was doing some plumbing and everything, and helping us out there. Yes, this guy right here.
I didn't know he did plumbing.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, you did say that.
Palmer House.
I don't know.
Palmer Drive. It's like residential. It's near, what was that? I can't even think of it. Worthington. It's near Worthington, up in that area.
Okay.
So it's Westbrook Housing.
Before my time.
Then I was in there too. We had a men's house and a women's house. Basically apartments right next to each other. So I was in the men's house there for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
Okay, so Tim provided the first referral. Tim Bear also provided the second referral, which got me into a place called Peer Support.
Yeah.
Okay, on 19th Street. I was there for 2 years, 2.5 months, and I was the last resident to leave
How
because they
about
closed.
that?
There were 7 of us. We were given time to get out. I hung on until the bitter end. For about a month there, I was by myself, and Tim Leach and Tim Bear helped me move to my community housing, which I've still been at ever since. So
That's amazing.
I moved
That's
there
great.
and been there since back in 2017 when Peer Support closed down.
Okay.
So I had the 3 referrals, as I say, from Tim, because one was to Palmer Drive, one was to Peer Support, and one was to Parker Apartments. So the 3 Ps, he got me to different...
Tim Bear is great at finding people housing.
Yes.
He really is.
Yes. And that's one of the Tims, of course. And
Yeah, one of the Tims.
There's Tim Leach and everything, who has been the things he's been able to do, just rides to and from work sometimes after, when I don't have a vehicle.
Yeah.
So that, he's taken me to dental work and everything in Montgomery and up to the VA in Clarksburg.
Okay.
So, I mean, and all the other things that he's provided. A bicycle, he got me a bicycle, he was able to get me a cooler, some things for music, so just things that really
Small
help
things that
out.
made a huge impact.
Make a huge impact, yes.
Did he know you were going to talk about him today? Because
I didn't tell him I was.
Yeah, because I wonder if he would have agreed to have people say nice things about him.
But it's all good. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all good.
yeah.
And then the other one is Tim Barnett, who through the years had just...
All the 3 Tims.
These are the 3 Tims who have provided like so many things that he had to go through his desk approval and
Yeah.
approval after approval that really has made my life so much easier. So,
I think Tim is very, he'll give the stamp of approval, especially when it's going in the right direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen that. So it's
He
really...
definitely meets people where they are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so grateful for the 3 Tims there. And I have had 3 therapists along the way: Cassie, Melissa, and Amanda.
Uh-huh.
I think Amanda's the only one who's still like kind of with Westbrook right now. The other 2 have, I guess, moved on motherhood for the one, and the other one, I guess, took another job.
Okay.
And Amanda's still here. But I've had 3 therapists. So I've gone through 3 therapists, but only one case manager, Kelly Ross, who has also done a tremendous amount
That's great.
there in the last, almost a decade.
And you might be her still only case management client.
I am. She told me she was down to 2 for a while. I'm just going to keep you 2. And then the other one, she's like, you are my last. I know she's had promotions through the years, and she still works with me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she wonon't give you up. So.
And I'm glad for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That is great.
So much help. So I really wanted to make sure that I discussed Westbrook, because that's been a big part of the housing. Of when I was living on Holly's Motel, which is a place on the south side, which is no longer, it's been closed down and knocked down and all that. But when I was there, I was drinking like crazy all the time and keeping that job. At Little Caesars. Prior to that, I was bouncing from jobs. That's also where I have my story that was in the newspaper. Is 5 years, 6 cities, and 7 facilities, of which I
Wow.
just bounced around in West Virginia, drinking 5 years, 6 cities, 7 facilities, 2 in Fairmont, but Morgantown, homeless shelters, and all the rest and everything, just bouncing from town to town, job to job, everything, until I was able to find this job and function at it. And then I wanted to do so much more than just function at it and just get up hungover every day. So I went to Tim Bear, talked to him, he got me into the housing, which started the sobriety, and continued there.
What was that trigger point?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, what made you decide, okay, this isn't working for me, I want to stop drinking?
Just like barely getting to work on time, sometimes, a little bit late. Not too bad, but things like that, just too much.
Did your workplace give you grief about being late?
Not really. No,
Okay.
not really. Because again, for the job that I do, it's very hard to keep somebody for any length of time and everything.
Okay.
So because of that, I had some flexibility with that and everything. So I never really got too bad and everything with that. But it's just everything else, racing thoughts with drinking, to just the crazy, bizarre thoughts that you start thinking, excessive worrying, and everything like that. Really messed me up.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. So.
Your gratitude is off the charts.
Yes.
Do you live that way every day?
I try to the very best that I can. I'm so humbled by this job because I've never had a job that I've had so much people giving out a show of support and stopping by, and during Christmas time coming with gifts and just all the stuff that's gone on for me is just amazing.
So I probably can't finish the story, but I'm going to start the story about Brianna and our pharmacy. She's a new farm tech, and when I ask about the guy that flips the sign, I said, anybody have any stories? She crossed the room. She said, are you talking about the Little Caesars guy? I said, yeah. And she says,
she was aware of a funeral procession.
it was her grandmother's funeral.
It was her grandmother's funeral.
And they were driving.
And she noticed as they went by, you took your hat off and as a sign of respect and put it to your heart. And someone was aware that you do that for every funeral procession that goes by.
Yeah.
And it was really touching to her, obviously, because she ran across the room
She told me that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that? I mean, I know that you did that,
right,
but yeah.
We've had a number of people come in through the years and talk to my boss, and people have sent things in and everything, and then our corporate office will give me a little nice note for that and everything like that. So yeah, it's something, that's part of the job. That's what I need to do whenever there's a funeral. Just stop what we're doing and hand over the heart and show the respect until the last vehicles go by. I usually give it a little bit longer when I look up, because every now and then, some of them are long ones, and I peek up just to see, and it still has the funeral flag, so I wait a little bit longer until it's finally all the way gone, and then from there go back to my job at that point. Yeah.
The thing that strikes me about that, and I don't live in Parkersburg, so I don't believe I've ever driven by you.
Okay.
But is that I do know how, like, you can be so caught up in stress and doing things and having a bad day, and it sounds as if people knowing that they're going to see you, and my guess is you smile at most of them, you definitely look happy. I've heard that's very important to people. It keeps them going.
Yes, yeah, I take a great pride in that, and again, I feed off of them. It's almost like performing and everything, where you're out there. And I was a big athlete in high school football, basketball, baseball, so I'm also like, I feel like I'm out in a game time situation. I'm out there, and the response that I get a lot of honks, waves. That was something else I wanted to get to later, but perfect. I mean, honks and beeps and waves and people stopping by to do amazing things and everything, and just say things and gifts, mostly at Christmas time and everything.
That's amazing.
If I could talk about one a few years ago.
You can talk about whatever you want.
I can't remember the year. I think it was 2012. I think it was 2012 Christmas time, and I was out there. There was a funeral, and I just went about my job, covered my hand, had my hand over my heart and everything. I had the next day off. I was off. The next day I came back, and they were all telling me, my boss told me and other people, be down here in the store at 4:30, be here at 4:30. I was okay. What would happen was the family was so touched at that time, they wound up, the day that I was off, that next day after the funeral, they bought a bunch of pizzas, and they were hoping I was there that day, and they were giving out free pizza on the corner, which was amazing. And then that day I came in at 4:30, and TAP News was there. They covered the story of that, and they came with this big box and everything, and TAP covered it, and they opened the box, and they had gone on, like, whatever it is, the internet and everything. There was over $600 worth of money and gifts and stuff to keep me warm in the wintertime, and TAP showed that on the news. And so that was like an amazing story. The one thing I asked the reporter, please, whatever you do, don't talk about the money, because I was living down at Holly's Motel and drinking.
Oh, you didn't want people to know.
No, and he showed the thing with the money, and the reporter at the desk said, and he received over $600 worth of, like, thank you, but nothing ever happened, and I didn't really want my neighbors to know that I just came into, because at Holly's Motel, a lot of us were living in addiction and poor, but luckily nothing ever came back. But it was just things like that, and everything. Never expected the next day something's good's going to happen, and come down at 4:30, and I was like, oh my, and the news, I was like, I almost wanted to go, and they were like, come on in here, you need to do this. So I did it. So I was really nervous about it, but it was amazing. And then one of my coworkers gave me a ride back down, because I didn't know where to take the bus, and she didn't even ask for anything or anything like that, but gave me the ride back home that night. And but I was nervous for a few days, because I wasn't used to having that extra money at that time.
And attention too.
And attention. Yeah. And I was still in active addiction too. So for me, it made it. It was right around Christmas time. It was right before Christmas. So I think it was like December 20th that I got the money. So I was literally less than $20 to my name at the time, and that was like, it made a Christmas, but of course some of that Christmas went toward drinking when I was still in active addiction. But it definitely made my Christmas of just one particular family just reached out for that, and they were so touched that they went on the internet for that. And then they had heard that I was previously homeless and everything, so because of that they wanted to do something for me, just for simply doing a simple act of kindness that is part of my job that my boss wants me to do. Whenever that happens, you stop what you can't rock out, you go right to that. So just for doing my job.
What did you say when you can't rock out?
What's that?
What did you say about rocking out?
Can't rock out during the time.
You can't rock out during the funeral, because we've had previous people that have been there before me that have done that, and have got like not necessarily good attention for that. So I love it.
So the phrasing of it.
You can't rock out during funerals. You show that respect, and so. But I heard before my time and everything that some people just don't think to do that. They're just rocking, just doing their job in a funeral, but a lot of people
awareness.
Yes, and a lot of people tell me that it's surprising that cars will cut in front front of their funeral procession, and hardly anybody does take the time to do that, and they're to stop and take their hat off and everything. So sometimes touches people's lives and everything. And another special story about a funeral procession, we had one where they were at I didn't know anything about it, but that day I was dressed like Elvis because I have an Elvis costume. I was just like Elvis, and the woman who had died, she was like really old, whatever, but she was an Elvis fan. So right before they had left the church, they were playing Elvis music, going to Sunset Memorial Gardens, which was right by me, and there I was dressed like Elvis. And that really, they came in and told me about that, just how it blew them away, where they were hearing Elvis, and they talked about her being Elvis. And there, as they're driving back, there was someone there with the guitar and dressed as Elvis.
That's amazing.
It gave my boss goosebumps even hearing about that, just how that happened out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think that realizing the impact you have on people, and then also in turn that people have on you, do you think that in any way played into your wanting to stop drinking?
That may have been part of it too. I didn't want to lose that job, and I didn't want to go back to homeless because, like I said, 5 years, 6 cities, 7 facilities. I thought there was no way out, and a lot of people that I still know that every now and then I run into down at the bus station, they're still coming back from Wheeling. They're still going through the homeless shelters. They just haven't been able to get out. That was one of the hardest things I had to do, was get out of homelessness, and I never wanted to lose that job. So thinking about it, I didn't want to lose that job and risk losing another job. And another thing too, when I was down at Hiley's too, motel living there and drinking, I used to work at a telemarketing firm known as Millennium Teleservices, CDG Management. Excuse me for saying my mouth's getting dry. But on Friday nights, I used to get paid on Fridays, and for that company, and I'd go up there to Hardee's. I'd walk up the street from the motel drunk. I didn't even care about it. When I first started this job, the first couple of times when I was in there, somebody's like, "Hey, you're the guy who works for Little Caesars." So the next day I woke up, was like, I can't do that. I have to get my food beforehand. I don't want people in the community to see me drunk. I just did not want that. So it's made me try to be, a better person, a better child of God. I wanted to just do better.
I love it.
Yeah. Have you had the same boss the entire time you've been here?
I have been here 14 and a half years in July. He's a month before me, so he's been here 34 and a half years in June.
That is special.
So, 34 and a half years. He's worked at a number of those Caesars, but he's been here, this one over 20, 25 years, something like that. But he's worked for the company for 30. He's 20 years and a month ahead of me. So, but I've been there longer than everybody. Everybody else has come and gone except for me and him. All the assistant managers, all the workers have come and gone since me. I had the second most tenure, so to speak, at our Southside store and everything.
And you would be the person I'd want to work beside me, but they prefer that you be out there.
And I prefer to be out there too. Yeah,
that's probably why you're so chipper.
I've been asked numerous times by my boss. He doesn't ask anymore, but years ago, "You sure you don't want to work in the store and everything?" And no, I really don't. I just love being out there. I love the interaction and everything that goes on out there, and things I see. Most of the things I see are really good.
Now, I know you've chosen this platform to tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you share your story one-to-one as you come across people that maybe aren't where you are?
So, whenever I have the opportunity, and that's the thing, whenever I do have that opportunity to do that, I try to do that. And I've let Bethel Church, which is like kind of my home church and everything, I've let them know too, anytime they need me to speak or say anything about that. I'm glad to do that too as well. I think they want me down there maybe in the near future. One of them has said maybe come back and everything and speak and everything. A homeless awareness walk we did years ago. I forget the other gentleman's name, but he was running it. Tim was kind of helping him out with it. And we went from place to place, and there were like a few hundred people there. And then I got to speak at the end too and everything. And I think his name was Travis or something like that. Maybe I have his name wrong, but anyway, he used to work for Westbrook too, and he was still here. Tim was about to take his job, and so I got to be the last speaker. And then they were supposed to do that event every year, a homeless awareness walk, but as far as I know, the next 2 or 3 years after that, they didn't do that. But I got to speak at Bethel Church there, and that was the most people that I directly spoke to in front of before telling my story there. I was extremely nervous.
Okay. It's just us.
You're right.
You're right.
Yes. Yeah.
I am curious, Tim. Do you have anything?
Do I have anything?
Yeah. Do you want to brag?
Do I want to brag?
Yeah.
I mean, we're so proud of Mark and what he's accomplished.
It's a huge
over
success
the years.
story, huh?
And he's a great example of a veteran who's coming in for services, who's in need. That he came in to see us, and it was nice to know that we could do what we can to help him.
Right.
Veteran helping veteran.
Yeah.
It's been a nice thing. We support each other. We really do. I guess we thrive on each other in a way.
Okay.
So I really do enjoy being able to do what I can to help my veterans. They're like family to me.
Yeah.
I've been in the military for 25 years. And
how long at Westbrook?
25 years.
Well,
Yeah.
that was an active year for you, wasn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
You know, being in the National Guard and on active duty, 2 deployments to Iraq. You know, I've experienced a good bit, and that to know that I've been able to do what I can to help out with the veterans. You know, when they come through the door.
We speak the language.
Yeah. Well, I take it. I'm very proud
Yeah.
of being able to do what I can to help every veteran that comes through the door.
Yeah.
So, and Mark's been one of those guys that I've had for how many years now?
Years.
You know, it's been a good long while, and I'm very proud to know that I can do what I can to help him out. And he helps me out. And he doesn't realize how much he helps me out, but he does.
Yeah.
You know.
And I don't know if you know this, Liz, but you've been active on our Veterans Committee, which has had a huge impact on getting the word out. You've gone a lot of places to get the word out to veterans who might need our help to come in for services.
Right. I mean, I've gone to the JCF meetings that are over at the National Guard Armory. I attend all the meetings that we have at Westbrook. You know, any event that we have that's a resource fair or anything like that that's over at the National Guard Armory, I try to attend those in order to put the word out. You know, I'm also a part of a military family as well. So I've got a dad who was in the Marine Corps, a brother who was in the Air Force, a brother-in-law who was in the Navy. I was in the Army. My dad was in Vietnam in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
You know, I got a brother-in-law who, Greg Eckert, he was in the Navy and he was on the ship during, it was 1989, BB-64 when it blew up. There was actually a turret or one of the guns that had blown up, so he was involved with taking care of that, and he's experienced a good bit. You know, very proud of him, what he does. Very proud of all the family members that I have that have been in the military.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a brother that was in the Air Force and retired after 20 years as a major. Worked at the Pentagon. Even continued to work for the military after that. You know, contract work. So, you know, we do everything we can possible as a family. You know, to help out our military, also our military family. You know, and you know, and do what we can to support them. You know, my dad's a part of the what do you call it, the Healing Waters, which is a very big program that we've got around here that's it's for fly fishing. You know, so any veteran that is involved, that wants to be involved with fly fishing, it's free of charge, doesn't cost them anything. There is a lot to offer. They supply a lot of trips and things for them for free, take them even out of the country in order to be able to do some fly fishing.
Do
So
you fly fish?
I do not fly fish. No.
something you might want to consider
want
thinking
to.
about doing, because there's a lot that they have to offer. So Sarah Holt's one of the ones that had been a big part of getting it the area for Healing Waters in this area established, and I think it's her husband now that I'm trying to remember his name, but he's the one who's taking it over right now, and they really do a lot for our veterans. So.
And she's on our board.
She is on our board, yes.
Yeah.
Mark, I want you to know, and I want the audience to know, we do have more people at Westbrook, and their name is not Tim.
There are a few that aren't named Tim.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and they're all you know they're all pretty good.
Yes.
So you don't have to just be named.
You have to
Tim.
be special to be in the Tim Club.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
definitely.
The TTT.
Do you have anything else you want to share?
Yeah, a few things actually.
go.
I
Tell
want
us.
to give some gratitude too. But before that, I do want to read something. I told Tim about it, so I wanted to read this. And this is something this kind of shows to how sometimes homelessness, you might not be able to preserve things the exact way they came.
Oh,
But it's
yes.
a letter that I got while in the Navy. I just wanted to read that one. This is something also that I'm really proud of. And this was back in the day, and has my name on it here, Arm 3 Mark Powers. That was my rank, my rate in the Navy, United States 7th Fleet, of which I was a part of. And it was a letter from South Korea to our admiral for an event that took place. What happened was the USSR, the Russians, shot a civilian airplane out of the air. It was a plane from San Francisco, California to South Korea, I believe Seoul, and there were Americans on board, mostly South Koreans, and were shot. It was 4 Russian fighter planes shot down an innocent civilian plane. So we were over there in that time in the Navy in that area, and so it was the tense time between the Russians and the United States, which could have led to great battles. So I just wanted to read them. I'm really proud of this. This is something that we did. It's from to the United States 7th Fleet. The Republic of South Korea takes pleasure in presenting letter of appreciation to the Staff Commander, 7th Fleet, that's to our Admiral, for service set forth the following. It gives me great pleasure to express my appreciation to the 7th Fleet for outstanding meritorious service while engaged in operations following the tragic shooting down of Korean Airlines Flight 007. During this period, the members of the 7th Fleet demonstrated strong resolve and selfless dedication to duty by persistent execution of the task at hand. Your extraordinary accomplishment in this humanitarian operation resulted in extending support to the prosecution of the mission. In recognition of and appreciation for your outstanding service to the Republic of South Korea, I present this letter of appreciation with my personal good wishes for continued success in the future. He signed it, Young Sung Min, Minister of National Defense, delivered with congratulations to us from our Admiral James R. Hogg, Vice Admiral, United States Navy. So this is something that I'm really, really proud of in service to
That's
the country.
really amazing.
Yes, as Tim was talking about, he did, I think it was 2 tours, he said, in
2
Iraq.
tours in Iraq.
Yeah, so just, just something that I just definitely wanted to share too. I thought I was going to do it to start to break the ice, but I already felt comfortable now. So,
Yeah,
but
okay, good.
I just wanted to share that too as well. That got cut off. I just wanted to once again thank my boss, my golf buddy, and brother in Christ, and a friend to some of the cool employees in that store, and they know who they are. But I just wanted to make sure that they knew that, and for many of them, those on day shift and night that are really super cool, but the ones on day shift that definitely make me lunch and everything, and definitely like that large sausage combo for lunch and everything with extra butter on farm that they put on that. Really grateful for that.
Did they bring it out to you? Did they bring it out to you?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes it's in the box there, so I go and get it. But yeah, it's definitely really
That's sweet.
appreciated that. Yes.
If I can interrupt,
Okay.
not to make enemies out there, but you are in fact a fan of South because you're on the South Side.
Right.
Do you want to give a shout out to Parkersburg South, not Parkersburg High School?
I'd like to give out a shout out to all the local high schools here.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's nice.
First and foremost. But a few years ago, my boss came up with the idea, who is a die-hard Big Red, because he went to high school there, played football and basketball, played varsity football all the way through his senior year. But a few years ago, he thought it might be a good idea if we could network with South and everything, and let me do it. And so what I did, I tried through my church to get some help. We ran into a kind of a brick wall, and then I knew somebody who worked at Little Caesars who knew a woman named Debbie Hendershot, who was actually on the Board of Education, and she advocated for me, and then after that, things just seemed to come rolling in, so it was really helpful.
And you have all the Parkersburg South gear?
I have a lot of this stuff that they brought me a football jersey, basketball jerseys, baseball jersey, and the rest, number of other things too as well. We've just received so much from there. And then I wanted to give a shout out to Mrs. Vion, whose son on the championship team, Dalton Vion, on the team that came just so close to winning a championship this year. They fell short at the championship, came up in Wheeling. My boss and I went up there, and to one of the games she let us in. She gave us tickets, her and one of her friends, for free.
That's
and
great.
Gave us shirts and amazing stuff. So she really made us feel part of that. And South, even for their baseball tournament this year that they were in, they came and ordered pizza there numerous times. So it's been kind of a thing because we are on the South Side store.
Yeah, and so close.
And so close.
So no offense to PHS.
No.
It's
No offense.
purely location.
But yeah, and my
Parkersburg
hope.
South has the talent. They have the talent over there.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Location.
Thank you. That is sweet. But also, I'm hoping in the future that if we can keep some sign dancers and checkerboarders on either 7th Street or Vienna, maybe one of them could reach out to
There we go.
PHS.
There
Maybe
we
they can
go.
get the gear. So
You might have to
always
recruit the person.
Yeah.
You would definitely have to train them, right?
Something like that, I guess. But if their GM, their boss could do that, then perhaps we could have a little kind of rivalry there going on. But
That
right
would be
now,
fun.
we
Your
just have
gratitude
us.
list is, I didn't count, but I'm pretty sure you met the 10. And you just exude gratefulness, and I love it. Gratitude.
And but before we leave, I have to know, what are the things that you do to take care of yourself?
Okay, I definitely will say I just had one more thing, and then we'll do that. And I just
Absolutely.
wanted to thank the good people of Parkersburg. I want to get this right because I wrote this down and I really wanted to make sure that I say this. And the people of Parkersburg, Wood County, and certainly the Middle Ohio Valley that travel on Division Street. So many honks, beeps, waves, thumbs ups that they give, shouts of support, stopping by, saying things, bringing cold drinks in the summertime and hot drinks in the winter. I am so grateful for all that that's gone on for years, and I really appreciate it. So I just wanted to make sure to say
That's great.
thank you
That's
for
amazing.
that.
That's great.
Absolutely. And then for taking care of myself, I hope I didn't lose it. I love watching football and basketball. Those are my two favorite sports to watch, so I love to do that. Playing golf with my boss. We normally play alone, but every now and then he's able to recruit people to come and play with us. So we every now and then have that exercising. I do sit-ups, push-ups, leg lifts, stretching, and walking my dog Buddy, who's a border collie who has a lot of energy.
I'd love to see your dog.
My dog, definitely.
He brought a picture.
I have a picture.
And nobody even told him that we love dogs.
Look
Oh,
at that.
buddy.
That's it.
Look at that.
He'll be 3 years old in August, and we got Alicia, my sidekick, and I, my girlfriend and I, got her in September 19th of 2020, the COVID year and
Okay.
everything. So he's our little COVID puppy. It's now covered. COVID hopefully is behind us, but nevertheless, that's Buddy the dog, who I
That's
absolutely,
amazing.
That's great.
absolutely love.
Well, before we finish, if there's someone out there contemplating getting help and they watch this podcast, what would you tell them?
That there is help out there. There's not necessarily one set way to go, whether it be AA, which I tried for a while, which definitely works for a lot of folks and was helpful for me for a while. But there is Westbrook Health Services and other places in the area that you go to now. I know Melissa, a former therapist, she's at a place, so there's definitely help out there, and it definitely can be done. If I can stop drinking, then I know that anybody can, beat whatever it is, but it's got to be a change of lifestyle, and you really have to, put 100% into it. It is a whole new way of life, but it can be a better way of life. And again, that dog Buddy and everything, I would not be able to really take care of him properly when drinking. So there definitely is hope. That's another message I had in that picture years ago at the 5-year mark, and now we're coming close, 6 more months, because we're willing with the 10-year mark, that there is hope to get sober, but you really have to want it. Hopefully you'll have some of the same support in the community that I've received, and Westbrook Health Service is certainly a first start, I believe.
Mark, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It was
Thank you.
delightful. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so
And
much.
thank you, Tim, for
Yeah.
bringing it.
Yes, thank you.
Everyone can see him, right? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.